Hello, SpongicX here, and today I'm going to revisit Nicktoons Freeze Frame Frenzy for the Game Boy Advance. So I remember getting this game, like, right when it came out back then, and, it was a little misleading, though, because I remember there were some, like, video game websites, that got this game's, like, identity wrong, because back then it was announced that they were coming out with a Nicktoons crossover game called Nicktoons Unite, and so I remember, like, when there were screenshots of this game leaked, everyone was going around saying, oh, this is the new Nicktoons Unite for Game Boy Advance, and, closer it got to release, all of a sudden, there was a listing for an upcoming Nicktoons game called Freeze Frame Frenzy, and I don't know why, like, this game wasn't really advertised very well, so, yeah, I actually bought this game as a kid thinking this was supposed to be Nicktoons Unite, and, however, I will admit, though, that, while I don't think this game is great, I actually do like it better than every single version of Nicktoons Unite. The Game Boy Advance version's like the worst of them all, the DS one was pretty bland, and the home console version was also really, really bad. So, I thought, looking back on this, though, I'd say actually this was the better game, but, I don't know, like, I think it's only fun to play, like, the first time around. It's mostly fun just for, like, the visual novelty of it. So for those of you who don't know, this is a photography game. The plot is where some mysterious character is going around and warping all these characters from different universes and dropping them into one. So Jimmy Neutron enlists, like, all these different Nicktoons to go to certain worlds and use an invention of his. A camera that can not only take evidence to try to figure out who's behind all this, but also, it's a teleporter that will teleport those who don't belong in that world back to their own world. So, in a way, you could kind of say this is very similar to Pokemon Snap. The gameplay is kind of fun. It's pretty much like an arcade shooter. However, the thing that, I feel really holds this game back is, you know, one thing that was great about Pokemon Snap was you actually got to look at the pictures you took, and I can understand this is a Game Boy Advance game, so that would have been harder to pull off, but it's like, imagine how much cooler that would have been. There is like an album mode where you can look at like all the pictures you've taken, or the characters you've taken, but it just shows the little thumbnail at the bottom right of the characters you take, so there's not even like a character description or anything, so yeah, a real bummer. So here we're at the Fairly OddParents World, Dimsdale, and I'll try pointing out as many references as I can. So, like, we had a reference to the intro there with Vicky kicking over the cutout of Timmy's parents. We saw the popular girl Trixie, and then rest in peace Gilbert Gottfried. He just died recently, but his characters, the dentist and his son Wendell, Dr. I can't remember his name, but and then we saw, yeah, sorry, these are gonna fly by real fast, so it's gonna be hard to point them all out, but we saw the Crimson Chin, XJ9 Jenny, and the Flying Dutchman. Let's see, that was one of the robot fairies that Timmy tried, Cosmo's mom tried setting Cosmo up with. See, we got some Rocket Power characters in the back. I really don't like Rocket Power very much, but I used to like it as a kid, but I think that show really badly aged. It's just kind of cringy. Let's see, the fairy tale, the holiday icons just drove by on a bus. That one monster from the episode where Timmy had the lemonade stand. Is that supposed to be Chet You Betcha? It looks nothing like him. And let's see, Mr. and Mrs. Santa. I know, for those who never watched Fairly OddParents, are like, what are you talking about? It's like, if you saw the Christmas episode, you know that's what they look like when they're not working. I used to like Fairly OddParents. I at least have respect for like the first few seasons, but yeah, I cannot stand Butch Hartman. And so, unfortunately, I didn't realize this at the time when I was playing, but I forgot you could take pictures of like the windows, and you gotta look out for like that crosshair. Look out for it when it turns blue or something. So let's see, we got Timmy's parents and Sam Manson from Danny Phantom, along with Tucker. Cosmo, Wanda, oh yeah, Mr. Krabs. I think, like, you know, the most fun thing about this game is just the Easter eggs. I do feel like it could have been better animated, though, but, let's see, Jorgen von Strangle. I think this is a reference to that one episode where Timmy was accused of being a shoplifter, because there's that inspection where Jorgen had to come in and he had to make sure like Timmy was making enough wishes to pass the inspection. And the girl from Texas from the Christmas episode. I think it was Texas. It was that part where Timmy is going around the world and trying to get help from all the different kids to try to get Christmas canceled. God, once again, it sounds so weird when you mention that episode out of context, but... So, I kind of wish, like, they didn't, you know, it's like at the intro, they show all the characters who are in this game. I really wish they didn't spoil it, but one of those characters they showed is the villain of this game, and I honestly think they would have been better off just not including it. Like, remember how fun it was for kids, like, when they first played Nicktoons Racing, and there's the mystery racer, and, you know, it was so great that they did not mention who it was until the very end of the game, and then it's like, it's revealed it was Plankton. It's like, that was awesome, I loved that, but, so here, it's like they should have done that, but you start slowly noticing a lot of the characters who showed up at the intro, are already, like, appearing in the game as, like, hidden characters or something, so when you realize there's one left, it makes you realize, okay, that's the final boss, and yeah, they spoiled it. For those who couldn't tell, it's Invader Zim. And I will admit, though, that was really cool of them to make Zim the villain of this game, because at the time this game came out, it was like probably like 2003 or 4, and it's like around that time, you know, Invader Zim was probably canceled by then, or at least moved to Nicktoons Network already. So, you know, that was already a pretty controversial show, especially for parents. So I thought that was really cool that Zim was like the villain. It was almost like, the way I saw it, it was almost like, oh, they chose him to be the villain because out of all these characters, his is the show that got canceled, or, you know, I don't know, but either way, it also suits him because he's an alien who wants to take over the world, and so have him be the one trying to take over many worlds, it's suitable. Let's see, Francis, Chester, the Vicky boss from that video game episode. Squidward, what are you doing here? AJ, Reggie Rocket. Let's see. Veronica, I think was her name. Sid, Hey Arnold. Trixie Tang. I like how, like, when you take pictures of a character multiple times, sometimes something different will happen. So it makes you want to experiment with the game, see all the different poses the characters will make. Sometimes they can trigger certain events, just like in Pokemon Snap games. Mr. Crocker. Oh god, I heard that new Fairly OddParents reboot was awful. What a shocker. I'm not even gonna dare watch that. Let's see, Flying Dutchman. Okay, this is a reference to the episode that introduced Mr. Crocker. The Polywallyoctosaurus, I think is what it was called. Harold for Hey Arnold, for some reason, is on a wanted poster. And I feel like the animation in this game could have been a lot better. I like the references, but it's like they just poorly animated. Okay, and then that's a reference to the episode where Timmy was accused of being a shoplifter, and of course Francis was the one doing it all along, shoving everything in his pants. I got that stuff off the internet? hate how long these little segments are, like, after every level you beat. It takes forever to get through these. You can kind of skip them, though, by pressing the start button, luckily, but still. It's like, it's still recommended to read this stuff, because, you really gotta know the mission objectives in order to win these levels. The 3 mission objectives they give for each world really gives you a lot of bonus points, which are necessary to progress. So if you skip like one of those missions, and not only that, but you also gotta earn a lot of points on the side by taking pictures of everything else. So, there's usually like 3 levels in each world, followed by a boss fight. The boss fights are usually robots of, characters from other Nick shows. So, SpongeBob Spawn in, animation's obviously a reference to, the Lost episode, The Sponge Who Could Fly, during the part where he crash landed into the ground and then, popped up as a bunch of little pieces of himself. Okay, attack and power Juju, but, okay, who the hell shoved Vicky and Francis in the locker? And, whoop, sorry Sandy, but you gotta go back. Okay, that was weird. When you think about it, there's a woman running around in a bikini inside a school. Real appropriate, Sandy, real appropriate. I think this is a reference to the first episode of Fairly Odd Parents. It showed that random scene where, Timmy was in, football tryouts and he ended up being the ball. Vicky's hamster Spunky. Vicky's dog Doidle trapped in Timmy's body. Yeah, I love all the references here. It's really neat. Doidle. Or Timmy? I guess someone shoved Timmy as a dog in the locker? Unless the wish got unwished already. And I swear, some of these characters are teleporters. It's especially funny when you realize that you already banished one character back to their own world, and all of a sudden they return in the same level a few seconds later. Like, I've noticed that with a few characters multiple times throughout this game. SpongeBob, don't go in the girls' restroom. This is a reference to the episode where Mr. Crocker was introduced when he was trying to prove that Timmy's disguised parents were actually his fairy godparents. What kind of mirror is that? A mirror doesn't reflect the front of a character's face when they're facing away from it. I feel like there was a huge missed opportunity here. They should have had it where when you open one of the stalls, it shows Squidward asleep on the toilet. Good reference to the Krusty Krab training video episode. But as far as I know, you don't really find any characters inside the stall, except for one character, and it's a... They only did that because it was obviously a reference to the episode in particular. But I can see why they didn't do that, though. That, you know, it's bad enough you're playing a game where you're going around taking pictures of people without their consent, but having like, characters like SpongeBob bursting down a stall door and taking pictures of them, yeah, that'd be pretty messed up. Flash from Danny Phantom and Ray Mundo from Rocket Power. Yeah, here we go. Principal Waxaplax, when she accidentally fell for the fairy trap that was set for Wanda. And then one of the missions was to find the other photographer, and of course it's Crocker. New World Order! Yeah, that is pretty messed up out of context. Taking a picture of a woman in a bathroom stall. I mean, obviously he was trying to prove that she was a fairy, but still, it's like, yeah, there's no explaining yourself from that, Crocker. That's just messed up. Jenny from Teenage Robot, along with Sheldon, her stalker. Okay, I think we're just down to the boss fight for this level. The character choice they chose is really weird. There's that really obscure character from Rocket Power, Eddie, Prince of the Netherworld, or whatever. It's just that stupid little kid who keeps dressing up like, it's like he never got over, like, Halloween or something, it seems like, because he's always dressed up wearing, like, a hockey mask, and goes around acting like he's like some creature from the underworld or something, you know, and Rocket Power is a weird show. So the boss fights are usually pretty simple here. Some of them are annoying, though. It's not that they're hard, they're just time-consuming. But otherwise, the objective's easy. You just gotta flash them 3 times. Yeah, you gotta flash them 3 times, yeah. And then, I think, like, this game was definitely harder for me as a kid, because I didn't realize you could actually, take photos of the little obstacles to make them disappear. And it's like, if I knew that as a kid, that would have made this game a lot easier. So I definitely enjoyed playing this more as an adult than I did as a kid for some reason. But a part of it was probably because as a kid I was disappointed this wasn't the big Nicktoons crossover game I was looking for. I mean, it is a Nicktoons crossing game, but I was looking for the one where you actually got to play as the characters, fight off enemies, and this clearly wasn't it. But to think this actually predates Nicktoons Unite, and I'll even say it's better than all the versions of it. As a kid, I was definitely let down by it, but I can definitely say there is some fun to be had with this game. I just feel like there's not very good replay value. Yeah, speed it up. You can keep tapping the A button to speed it up, but still. And then, so next is the Spongebob World, and unfortunately, you cannot, play as SpongeBob in that level. So if you're in a world where, that reflects the playable characters, you're not allowed to play as them. So in the Fairly OddParents world, I wasn't allowed to play as Timmy. And the reason why is because those characters actually do show up as, background characters. So I guess they didn't want to be like a time paradox, but that doesn't explain one of the last characters you can unlock in the game. After you beat the game, you get to unlock Jimmy as a playable character, and they didn't, you know, Jimmy's like addressing to himself, like, "Oh, hello, Jimmy, nice to meet you. I need to send you on a mission." It's like, what? And if I recall, I think Invader Zim was also a hidden character in this game, but you had to get a picture of every single character in this game for that to work. So in the end of this, I somehow was missing one character. It said I was missing a character from the Danny Phantom world. And it's hard to say what they mean by that. Do they mean it's a character that you can only find in the Danny Phantom levels, or I don't know, but so let's take SpongeBob and Gary. So Gary is like a character that you, like I said, there are some characters who will only show up if you trigger an event. So in that case, you had to keep taking pictures of SpongeBob until he inflated and caused Gary to burst out of the tub. Okay, let's see, we had Angelica, Brad, Lila. Oh, here's a funny reference. Next, I suppose you want me to go square dancing with Patrick. I like how all the characters from the land are having an air bubble over their head. It's kind of funny. And then usually in the land levels, you'll usually see the sea creatures are usually near a body of water, unless it's Sandy, of course. They have Sandy going around in her bikini in like every other land level. So the only time you see her in her air suit is in one of the last levels here. And I think this is a reference to the episode I Was a Teenage Gary, when Squidward was tanning for so long that he got really crispy looking. And then let's see, that's Gary takes a bath. SpongeBob fell out of the tree. For some reason, Gary was there as well. And Tito. I'll admit, he was like one of the more likable aspects of Rocket Power. Kimmy. I did not care for All Grown Up. You know, as a kid, I loved Rugrats. I just did not like All Grown Up, though. Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. That's one of my favorite episodes of SpongeBob, Frankendoodle. I like the Easter egg here. You just keep taking pictures of Patrick and he'll start drawing all the playable characters. Wasn't sure if something would trigger if you kept taking pictures, but apparently not. Just different poses of the character until it loops all over. Tuck from Teenage Robot. Debbie Thornberry. Never liked her. Okay, Jazz from Danny Phantom. Mrs. Puff. Oh, for once she crashed without SpongeBob, huh? I don't know why, but you can take pictures of the little rock shards there. That was kind of weird. I don't know why you always see those characters in these levels. It's always Crimson Chin, Jenny, and then usually the Flying Dutchman, but... How are they skateboarding underwater? I'm surprised they didn't have Sam interact with Squidward in any of these levels. Because get it? Because his nickname is Squid. So have Squid with Squidward. Ah, Vicky drowned. That's awesome. Boo! I hate you, older Tommy. I don't know. I just did not like All Grown Up. It's like I just thought all the characters are suddenly unlikable. They're just such jerks. I get it. They're teenagers now, but come on. They could have... It's like that's the problem. They tried turning it into a teen show, and, you know... I mean, I'll admit, as a kid, I always wanted to see how the Rugrats would have been, like, older, but, that's not how I wanted to see them as. I didn't want to see them as such annoying troublemakers. They made such stupid decisions, and it just wasn't fun to watch for me. I know some people liked it. I didn't care for it, but... Either way, All Grown Up is a mixed bag. Imitation crabs. Ravioli, ravioli, give me the formula. And then, this is like a reference to multiple episodes. They just, like, took a bunch of the idle animations of, like, characters eating Krabby Patties. I think mostly Imitation Crabs is, like, they definitely took a lot from Imitation Crabs, and then they had some reference to the episode Pickles. I'm surprised. If I'm not mistaken, Fred did not show up in this. I wonder what's in that secret formula. And then SpongeBob rips his head off. There's also a few references to Just One Bite in this level. In a way, this kind of reminds me of that SpongeBob VR experience where they took, you know, it was inside the Krusty Krab, they took all these different clips from the show and somehow, like, green screened them into this, you know, virtual reality. It's funny how, like, you keep rotating, you see a bunch of episodes happening at once. And that was really fun, actually. I really did enjoy that. I didn't even have VR to properly use it with. I just had to rotate my phone around. So I don't really have VR for my phone or anything, but I have PlayStation VR, but I don't know. I don't think it works anymore. I never really liked it anyways. The idea was cool. The resolution was bad. So, more references to Just One Bite and Bubble Bass from Pickles. Mr. Krabs. Not sure what that's a reference to, but... I do like how this game seems to give you unlimited, you know, it gives you unlimited snapshots to take. You don't have to worry about running out of film. However, if you do, you still gotta be careful about how often you use the flash, though, because, it can, if you use it too rapidly, it'll drain, like, this little gauge. And luckily, I didn't have to worry about that. I never had any points where I ran out to a point where I had to keep waiting, and then if that does happen, I think you can hold the L button to recharge your gauge, but I never had to bother doing that because I didn't run out of film at all during this, so. Part of me kind of wishes, you know, I think I'd like Pokemon Snap a lot better if it did that, if it didn't limit your frames, or your, you know, it didn't limit your film, I mean. I think that would have made the game a little more fun to play, but... So I hate how you have to use your shots wisely. If I had unlimited film, I'd just take as much as I can. And I mean, come on, they're using digital cameras nowadays. Back then, it made sense when they were using the old cameras, but they tried modernizing Pokemon Snap so much that they didn't bother to think, oh, Don't kids usually have like a lot of memory in their phones nowadays to a point where they can store a lot of photos and videos? So what the hell? What were they thinking? They could have at least let you unlock that privilege, have it limited at first, but then after you make it so far into the game, it rewards you by giving you unlimited film. That would have been cool, but nope. Sad to think we're probably not going to get any more DLC for Pokemon Snap. I did like the free update we got where we got 3 new levels. That was cool. It mostly recycled characters we've already seen, but still. There are still some new ones there. Shanghai. Great episode. Not sure what Vicky was doing there, but... I think one big problem I do have with this game is, like, this would have worked better with a game where you gotta control the character with the left stick and then... or not have you control the character at all, I guess, because while you're controlling your character, your cursor moves as well. So, you know, usually a game like this would have it where you control the character with the left stick and then the crosshair with the right stick. That would have made this so much easier. And so it's hard to sometimes, like, try to dodge something while taking a picture of it at the same time. Sometimes it takes dumb luck for these kind of levels, and yeah, it sucks. Arnold's grandma. I don't know who the hell that guy was. Must have been a Rocket Power background character or something. Phil and Will. Mr. Lancer. I'll bet Danny enjoyed that, sending that guy away. I do like the idea of having to spot out, like, the characters who don't belong, and you have to keep taking pictures of them to send them away. The problem is that I feel like with how often they want you to, like, rapidly zap these characters with photos, sometimes it doesn't give you a good chance to get a good look at the character before they disappear. So sometimes you didn't even realize what character you sent away until you see the little icon in the bottom right. It's like, oh, I didn't get a chance to see the pose they were in because it didn't give you enough time to respond to look at them or anything. So, like, right there was Gaz from Invader Zim. Oh, there's Gurr. Darwin. I feel a big missed opportunity in this level. They didn't have Patrick doing the lead. I mean, they showed him at the steering wheel, but SpongeBob was the one at the wheel instead. There's Dib. What was her name? Maylene or Maydeen from Hey Arnold. One of Lars's stupid friends from Rocket Power. Oh god, what was her name? Mrs. Stimpleton, was it, from Rocket Power? Eugene from Hey Arnold. That's clearly a reference to the episode Rip Pants. And Balloon Salesman's likely a reference to the episode Life of Crime, where SpongeBob and Patrick stole a balloon on Free Balloon Day. I'm trying to think. I think the first episode of SpongeBob to include the buses was... Oh no, I was gonna say Rock Bottom, but actually it goes all the way back to the pilot episode with Help Wanted, when the anchovies arrived. Back there was Eliza Thornberry, Phoebe, I'm surprised we haven't heard more from that upcoming SpongeBob game, the Cosmic Shake. It's supposed to come out this year, and yet we still got nothing on it, aside from that reveal trailer. I noticed they forgot to draw Sandy's tail. Like, I know in the original season she did not have her tail sticking out of her suit, but ever since season 2 they did. Heck, even the beginning of season 2 didn't really do that. I think the first time I noticed her with her tail out was the episode Pre-Hibernation Week. Because if I recall, like, we did see her in her suit, like, at the beginning of Wormy, and it's like, you didn't see her tail, but... personally, I like that they have her tail stick out of her suit in the modern episodes. It just, you know, it defines that, yes, she is indeed a squirrel. I noticed they changed the shape of her suit in Season 2, though. Originally, it had a more rounder shape, and now it has more of a cylinder shape. So, obviously, Sandy finding the clam is a reference to get the Tree Dome, the episode that introduced her. Or Nickelodeon wants you to forget that, because of Camp Coral and all that. Ugh. I don't care what modern SpongeBob says. There was no time travel. Okay, so obviously, I don't know why they put it in this level, but obviously a reference to Scaredy Pants when Patrick accidentally shaved SpongeBob's head too much for his costume. And I remember there was a deleted scene from that, like there's unused artwork for that episode where originally there was supposed to be a gross close-up of SpongeBob, like after the Dutchman took off the you know, the ghost sheet and all that, but I guess they cut that out because they thought the reveal, you know, show his reaction, then show SpongeBob afterward. I guess they thought that would be funnier, but... So obviously that's Squidward eating too many Krabby Patties in the background, back there. For some reason, we're at the T-Dome. Tree Dome. Why did I say, ugh. So we're fighting a robot of Jack Fenton. This one's a little tougher because he can hurt you a little easier. Again, like I said, this wouldn't have been so bad if there was a way to control the crosshair separate from the actual direction pad. Like, they really should have done that. Like, the other buttons are barely used, so they should have had it where, like, you use, like, they should have had it where the L button was to jump, and then use the right buttons, like, you know, A, B, X, and Y. Oh, wait, no, I forgot. Game Boy only had 2 buttons on the right. That's right. I was thinking of the DS for some reason. Yeah, it's too bad that, like, that's the problem with a lot of handheld games back then. They had a lot of fun ideas, but they were ruined due to the controller's limitations. That's one reason I'm kind of thankful for Switch nowadays. The only thing holding Switch back nowadays is its performance, but at least when it comes to controls, and then, even then, the controllers are not the best because they're Joy-Cons. They break down after a while, which is unfortunate. I find it sad that, sometimes some of the third-party controllers are actually better than the Joy-Cons, and those are missing a lot of features. So I got like one of those Joy-Cons that are made to look like a GameCube controller, but they have like extra buttons and all that. And overall, I like it, but it's not good for every game. There are certain games where you gotta have the default layout for some of these controllers, because the GameCube layout just makes it more complicated to press multiple buttons at once. Like, it's good for games like Smash Brothers and all, but when it comes to playing like some of the older like Super Nintendo games like Donkey Kong Country, it's complicated because you have to hold the B button to run, or like one of the buttons to run, then another button to jump, and the way the GameCube is laid out, it's hard to press them both at once without it, I don't know, it's hard to say, but... So, this is one of the most flawed worlds in the game, the Rocket Power World, because I noticed there's a lot of errors in this level. So, it's like right there's Chucky, so, you know, I keep, shooting him, trying to send him back to his world, but then it won't. And so it made me realize, like, wait, are they saying that all the characters made by Classy Supo are part of the same world? So I guess the all-grown-up world exists in the same world as Rocket Power? I mean, it was confirmed that they live in the same world as Wild Thornberrys, as seen in the Rugrats Go Wild movie, but they never confirmed Rocket Power. And so, in this level, I noticed that the Rugrats, the all-grown-up, Wild Thornberrys, and Rocket Power characters all belong in this world, which is claimed to be the Rocket Power world. However, later in the game, there is an all-grown-up world, and all of a sudden the Rocket Power characters are treated like strangers, where you can send them back to their world. So, yeah, this world right here is really confusing. It's like 1 minute they were mistaken that all these characters were part of the same world, but then it feels like someone later down the line said, Rocket Power doesn't belong in the world of Rugrats or Wild Thornberrys. And they're like, whoops! And then all of a sudden they change that for the next world featuring the all-grown-up cast. And yeah, that was weird. It's really confusing. I'd say that's actually the biggest flaw in this game. This world right here is just really confusing. I don't know why, this always kind of made me laugh. So we see Eliza playing volleyball with Sandy, but then there's just something funny about, like, when you zap Sandy away, just like the look on Eliza's face. It's almost like, what just happened? 1 minute I'm playing volleyball with a talking squirrel, and all of a sudden she's gone. And I just can't help but think, they're in the Rocket Power world, and that's what Sandy decides to do, play volleyball. I thought she was more of an extremist. You think you would have seen her on a surfboard in the background, and instead she's playing volleyball with Eliza Thornberry. It's just kind of random. I mean, that's this game in a nutshell. It is random. This is Thornberry. I don't know, what do you want to do today? Susie Carmichael. I can't help but say, did they choose the wrong profile picture for her? Like, her picture in the bottom right, that looks more like her younger self instead of her teenage self. And so, yeah, it's strange how you have a lot of these characters in the games, and a lot of the worlds aren't even included, but... yeah, this Rocket Power world really feels mixed up. 1 minute it's a Rocket Power world, and then towards the end it turns into a Wild Thornberrys level, because there's a level where you're in the jungle and you see their vehicle. Convy, I think is what it was called. Yeah, that was weird. And then also Arnold and a bunch of the other characters show up in this game, yet there's no Hey Arnold world. Kind of weird. I'm trying to think, like, what levels are left. There's a Danny Phantom world, there's an all-grown-up world, And then the final level, it barely is a world though, it's just more of a set piece for the final battle, but the last one claims to be the Invader Zim world, but it's really just a glorified boss battle with like many phases. I don't know why this level exists, because really it feels like, you know, we have a separate world for all grown up, and this feels more like an all grown up world instead of a Rocket Power world. You see too many of the Rugrat characters here. Oh, speaking of Rugrats, I tried playing a really bad Rugrat game the other day. Rugrats in Time. It was like a time travel game starring the Rugrats for Game Boy Color, and I remember I did not like that game as a kid. My older sister used to have it, and I remember, like, we just could not beat the game. The furthest we could make it was, like, this fairy tale level where you gotta play as Lil, and oh my god, like, the least I can say about the game is the visuals are nice, and some of the music is really catchy, but the gameplay is awful. It is just painfully frustrating, and it would be better if it weren't for the damn time limit. You're time limited to, like, 10 minutes for each level, and, you gotta keep collecting, like, baby bottles, and then find a hidden item in the world, and then find the end goal portal in order to progress, and, it's like, in the fairy tale world, it's like, I can find, like, the item I need, and I can find the portal, but I can never get enough of the baby bottles to exit, and so, I almost was gonna do a playthrough of that, but then I decided, nah, this game's just way too flawed. But, like I said, the visuals on it were actually pretty good for a Game Boy Color game. There was some neat, like, level designs and all that, but the gameplay was just way too frustrating. Heck, I'll even say some of the later levels are much easier than the very first level in the game. The first level where you play as Chucky was actually pretty hard. The concept for it was just really weird, though. It's a Rugrat game where the Rugrats go back in time. I mean, I get it's a reference to the Toy Palace episode, because there was an actual working time machine being sold as a kid's toy there. I mean, that was a funny, stupid joke, but all of a sudden you have an episode, well, you have like a whole video game where the babies somehow get caught up in it, and they're in different time periods, and some of the levels just don't make sense. For instance, like I said, if it's a level about going through time, why are they suddenly in a fairy tale world? A world of make-believe? That makes no sense. The other levels kind of make sense. There's like one where you're in the Wild West. There's one where you're in the prehistoric times, medieval times. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're in a fairy tale with like, elves, Little Red Riding Hood, the Big Bad Wolf. It's like, what the hell? But to be honest, I was playing a lot of Nickelodeon games lately, and all of them are pretty bad. I tried the Game Boy Advance port of Nicktoons Racing, and it was pretty bad. I remember liking the PC or PS1 version a lot better. I am planning on playing the PS1 version later. Hopefully that will, you know, still be as good as I remember. But otherwise, I tried Nicktoons Battle for Volcano Island, and that was not pretty good, honestly. I'd say that was actually one of the better Game Boy Advance games out of the Nicktoons games, but I don't know, like, it was kind of fun at first. Like, I liked how playing, like, Danny was kind of like, an homage to the game, Mighty Switch Force, where you gotta use his, ghost phase to, like, clip through certain platforms, and that was kind of cool, but otherwise, one thing that the game was missing was combat. Like, the characters really didn't have ways to fend off enemies, so it was really just a puzzle platformer. I didn't think it was that great, though. Like, I didn't even think the home console version was that great either, but I'll at least say that one was more entertaining. Nicktoons Unite on Game Boy Advance was awful. Attack of the Toy Bots was really repetitive. The levels were boring, and then the worst part of the Game Boy Advance version of Attack of the Toy Bots is how... So you start off getting to choose, like, to save one of the trapped, like, Nickelodeon playable characters. So, like, I chose SpongeBob, and then you go through the first world, and after that you unlock a key to unlock one of the second characters. So I chose Danny Phantom. And then when I went to the first official world in the game, which was the Fairly OddParents world, it's like I beat it as SpongeBob, and it was a lengthy, boring level, and then all of a sudden it said, great, now do the same with the other heroes. And so I had to go back to that level, do it all over again, but with Danny Phantom this time. And then once I made it to the end, I was able to unlock the next character, which in this case I chose Jimmy Neutron. And then I went to, I think it was the Danny Phantom world, and then after that, it's like, you know, I beat it as SpongeBob, then it told me I beat it as Danny, then it told me I beat it as Jimmy, and it's like, eventually it came to a point where it's like, I'm done with this game. This is just too repetitive and too boring. It's not that it's hard, it's just not fun. It's boring, and, you know, it's like, I already played the home console version, that was kind of torture to get through at times, so it's like, yeah, I'm done with this. I'm just done with it. So it surprises me that the one Nicktoon game about taking pictures is the one that I think is okay. So far, there's only like 2 Nickelodeon games I played on Game Boy Advance that I thought were decent. This and Danny Phantom Urban Jungle. I previously did have a video of that, but I deleted it because I noticed like somehow the audio was really out of sync. And so it just made the video kind of distracting. And it kind of was a repetitive shooting game anyway, so not very fun to watch in video form. I probably should have just made a review of that instead, but... I at least, like, this is kind of a repetitive game too, but I at least feel like there's more going on in the background to make a video of it. So yeah, like, this is part of the Rocket Power world. Tell me this does not feel more like a Wild Thornberrys world. So, like I said, this world is just way too mixed up. It's like they thought all the Klasky Supo characters were part of the same world and someone had to correct them, and then they made the all-grown-up world, which treats them all individually again. It's like, what the heck? Mrs. Bitters. Or Miss Bitters, I should say. I accidentally lost a bit of footage for this level, so bear with me. I think I forgot to press, like, record, and then eventually I realized, like, while I was playing, it's like, wait, did I press record? And I didn't, so. Otherwise, this is another basic Rocket Power level. Ugh, Dill. God, I thought he was annoying as a baby, and he was no better when he was a teenager. I think that was supposed to be Dib's dad right there, but if so, they got his character all wrong. That looks nothing like him. That, or that might have been one of Dib's idols, I can't remember, but... Either that was his dad or some idol, I can't remember, but... That did not look like Professor Membrane, though. Oh, this boss fight is actually pretty tricky. Mainly, like, I wouldn't say it's hard for say, it's just trying to get a picture of Squidward when he's hopping around. It's really hard. You gotta do it 3 times, and it's like I got lucky the first 2 hits, but the third one, oh my god, he's just swinging around like a ninja. I think I'll just skip ahead to where I finally get it. Save some time. Oh, there he is. Yeah, too bad the intro spoiled that he was in this game. I feel like that reveal would have been even greater if they didn't spoil it ahead of time, but... So, the Danny Phantom World. So, this, first level seems to be based on the pilot episode, the one where he's introduced to the meat ghost, or the lunch lady ghost, I mean. I don't know why, but throughout this level, Sam and Tucker have, like, the same reaction. You keep taking pictures of them, eventually they have, like, a little, you know, like a scare take, and then they start running in fear. It's so weird. Jack with that fishing pole that he used to try fishing ghosts. If I'm not mistaken, they forgot to include Vlad, and there's a lot of villains they forgot to include from Danny Phantom. They forgot, like, the big ones like Vlad and Skulker, but yet they have the girl who can transform into a dragon, they have the box ghost, the lunch lady. It's like, oh, come on. They got those guys, but not, like, the big villains? Come on. If anything, they were more joke villains. For the Game Boy Advance's limitations, I do think it did a good job at capturing the art style of some of these shows along with the music. I like how the music mostly sounds like it sounds kind of like parodies of the main themes of the shows. Okay, I'm not the only one who just saw that right. Sandy was going commando there. SpongeBob just took a picture of it. Oh boy, I'll bet you'll enjoy looking at that later, but... I'll admit, like this level would probably be tricky for those who've never, you know, like for those who weren't fans of Fairly Odd Parents or Danny Phantom. I can imagine this level would be tricky because the characters, like, out of all the characters in the show, they definitely have the most similar art style. I mean, it's funny, though, how, you know, like, Wild Thornberrys, All Grown Up, and Rocket Power were part of, like, the same studio, but they still had, like, some kind of difference. Like, you could argue the characters in Rocket Power, and especially Wild Thornberrys, looked uglier compared to the Rugrats or All Grown Up characters. It's like they have very similar art styles, but it's like some of the shows make the humans look uglier than others. Like having their eyes smaller and spread further apart from the center of their face, you know, it just makes them look derpier and... Yeah, I remember when I heard about, like, the Sonic Boom voice cast and they introduced Colleen Shinessi, you know, it's like, I was wondering, like, what was she in? Then I learned, oh, she was Jazz from Danny Phantom. Oh, that's cool. Still cool that they got her for the Sonic 2 movie. The only character to reprise their role. I hope they don't do the same when it comes to Shadow. Oh, that would suck. I do not like, you know, like, the guy who currently voices Shadow, Kirk Thornton, I think he's a good voice actor, but, he does a terrible Shadow. He's better at voicing, like, Orbot or T.W. Parker, but he is not a good Shadow. I know, like, some people are saying it'd be funny if they got Keanu Reeves to voice Shadow. obviously, because there's the joke of the first movie where, like, Sonic's like, oh, Keanu, you're a legend, or whatever, you know, so. I can't remember what he said, you're a legend, or you're an American hero, or I can't remember, but. I hate it when the characters move out of the way too fast. Nora Wakeman. For some reason, it's like I notice a lot of these buildings have like this characters from the same world like in them. I don't know why, but Liza is really hard to get here. Oh, Skulker is in this game. I could have sworn he wasn't, but. I still can't get over how Skulker isn't actually like a giant robotic ghost. He's actually just like a midget green little slime guy. And you only saw like his true self like twice in the show. Like once in the very first episode he was introduced in. And I remember he appeared one other time. But it's like, it's so distracting though. And not to mention how they changed his voice actor a few times. Like the first episode and then like a later episode, he had his original voice actor. And then I know most often, though, oh, I can't remember the guy's name, but, like, the voice of Gantu from Lilo and Stitch, and, like, he's a good voice actor, and personally, I thought he was a better voice for Skulker, but it's just so distracting how 1 minute he's voiced by someone else, and then they get, like, that guy to, like, voice him for most every episode, and then it's like he's all of a sudden back to his original voice. It's like, that was weird. Rhonda. I do like how you can zap multiple characters at once if you get them in the crosshairs right. That's pretty cool. If this were Pokemon Snap, it would not let you do that. It only takes like whatever's front in the shot. I do not know what that girl's name is. I know like she had like the real squeaky voice. I don't recall them ever mentioning what her name is in the show, but she wasn't really an important character anyways. She was really a background character, if anything. Lars, that was Twister's annoying douchebag of a brother from Rocket Power. Once again, another reference to the pilot episode when Sam and Tucker were butting heads against each other over vegans versus meat eaters. Yeah, that's like the weakest element of like the first episode. It's like nobody cares. SpongeBob's probably drooling at that building right now. Patrick falling out of an ice cream truck, brilliant. Or a meat truck. Should have been an ice cream truck, but... For once, Jenny only took one zap to poof, not multiple like usual. Weird. Usually Jenny's a hard character to get because she moves around so fast. I notice how, like, with the Rocket Power characters, they don't bother making any references to episodes from the show. It's like, wow, even the people who made this game are aware of how dull that show is. They're aware that, okay, the whole show is just kids riding around on skateboards and other sporting goods. It's like, What are the plots here? Are there any iconic moments we can spoof up? Nope, just them riding around. Okay. I mean, yeah, you could argue that, for XJ9, it's mostly her just flying around, but they still had some references to the episode she's from. I noticed, like, in one point, it showed her, showed, like, Nora right next to her. It was, like, it was, like, from episode 2, where she had, like, the exoskeleton, disguise, which just made her look like a raggedy android, basically, and so there's the part where the mom wanted her to, demonstrate, like, all of her weapons, you know, and so they had a reference to that earlier, and then you had, like, Sheldon chasing her, so that's, like, a reference to the first episode that introduced Sheldon. But then for rocket power, nope, just them riding around, that's all they do in this game, just like it's all they do in the show. I think the same could be said about the Wild Thornberrys, too. Like, I don't think... Them and the All Grown Up cast don't seem to have any, like, direct references from the show they're based on. Just the characters wandering around, usually in the same poses or animations. But so, some shows they got creative with here, like, Danny Phantom, Fairly Odd Parents, and SpongeBob. It's like you could tell the people who, ported these levels into the game definitely took reference from the show. Like, even SpongeBob, some of his idle animations, like, I know it's like one of them was the weird little dance he did when he was trying to get Gary to take a bath. And then he goes like, that didn't work either, huh? So, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of references, not only in the gameplay, but even in, the character animations. Remember, kids, it's not cool to break into a high school and take pictures of all the teenage students, or anyone for that matter. It's just wrong. It's okay, Jimmy Neutron told me to do it. Oh, Danny just punched a woman. Try explaining that out of context. But yeah, for those who've never watched Danny Phantom, I can imagine that would look so weird. He just flew up to her and just punched her. And all she wanted was to go to the ball! I do find it, like, the first episode of Danny Phantom is kind of strange, though. Like, of all the ghosts they could have introduced for Danny to first fight, why was it the lunch lady of all characters? I don't know. I do feel like, I don't know, there were some funny moments in the pilot episode, but I honestly thought the pilot episode of Danny Phantom was kind of weak, but luckily the show got much better as it progressed. Unless you're one of those people who hated the finale. I didn't think the finale was as bad as people made it out to be, but it could have been better, and it obviously was rushed, but I was happy with how it ended, at least. I just thought, like, the first half of it was kind of stupid with the whole subplot of, like, Danny becoming rich, and then, oh, of course, yeah, it's like, you've seen that episode, you've seen them all, you know, but then it's like, once it gets past that, that's where the episode gets better, but still rushed, though, but better. Okay, this level is just pure lazy and it's hilarious because of it. So, look at, like, all the people sitting at the tables. Notice how they're all wearing, like, the same pants. Even characters who normally don't wear pants. Like, Donnie from Wild Thornberrys. And then what's really funny is when you poof them out and then how the pants are still there. That's just hilarious. It's like, they clearly rushed this level. Like, look at that, Donnie. He's wearing pants all of a sudden. And then when he poofs away, the pants are still there. That's... Even the feet are still there. It's like, oh god, did I just decapitate these guys? Did I just warp, like, their upper half? So all of a sudden, like, when they're sent back to the world, they're just crying in pain now? Crying, where's their legs or something? It's like, what the hell? just so laughably bad. It's like, did they think people wouldn't notice? Or I noticed, like, right away. So at first, like, I just, like, remember after I poofed a character away, I was like, what the heck are that? I'm like, is that a pair of pants? And then, you know, I witnessed, like, the next character's like, yeah, that's like their pants and shoes. Even the characters who aren't even wearing those normally. For some reason, they just have that there to try to fool people into thinking they're sitting there. It's just really distracting. Makes it look more like SpongeBob's going on a killing spree. I like how, like, in this part of the level, like, you'll find just not much SpongeBob characters inside the sinks. It's kind of funny. It almost comes across like they were dropped into this world and they, you know, they couldn't breathe, so they jumped into the nearest source of water, and all I could find was, dish soap, basically. I gotta admit, for a cafeteria, this is a pretty big washroom. I'm pretty sure kitchens don't have this many sinks in school cafeterias. Especially if there's only one lunch lady. I hate how Butch Hartman had to turn down, like, all the theories that people had with Danny Phantom. Like, I could imagine if he did do it, he, like, if he wasn't serious about it, it was probably because Nickelodeon forced him to do it for censorship sakes, but, you know, it's like a lot of people theorize that a lot of the ghosts in Danny Phantom, it's like, they reflect, like, what they were doing before they died. So, like, the lunch lady, you could say, like, she died from a kitchen fire or something, or... like, there's the motorcycling couple. You could say they died in a motorcycle accident. And I always like those theories. And then Butch Hartman has to say, nope, they were just born ghosts. And it's like, are you kidding me, Butch? It's like, if you're dead serious, and that is stupid. I can understand if Nickelodeon forced you to say that, because censorship, but I wouldn't be surprised if Butch Hartman was dead serious. He's made some really stupid decisions over the years, so it wouldn't surprise me. But it's like, darn it. You had a cool and kind of dark idea, and then you ruin it by saying, oh no, they were just born that way. Yeah, people are born ghosts. Ghosts get laid. That's how baby ghosts are made. Makes no sense. I mean, even Pokemon, with ghost-type Pokemon, they imply that when Pokemon die, they turn into those. I mean, even Pokemon doesn't shy away from that. The only loophole I see is, yeah, ghost Pokemon can breed, which is really weird, but the important thing is they establish that the origin of ghost Pokemon are, in fact, dead Pokemon. So, it's like almost any Pokemon could possibly turn to a Gengar. There's a lot more lore to that, possibly. Like, maybe, it depends on how the Pokemon was during their lifetime or something. Like, maybe if they were a good ghost, they turn a more pleasant ghost-type Pokemon, but then if they were nasty, they turn, like, one of the nasty ones, or, you know, it's like, it's never been established, but, you know, it made a lot of fan theories, so. Well, that was a surprisingly easy boss fight. I'm just wondering, like, I know it's random, but why does Jimmy Neutron have, like, a rooster clock in his lab? It's like he has two clocks over to the right, and the bottom one is, like, a rooster. It's like, why does he have a rooster-shaped one? For some reason, the Game Boy Advance was obsessed with that. Whenever they made, like, a Jimmy Neutron game... they always had the menu be Jimmy's lab. It's always the computer. They just always had to recycle that. I think that's stupid how, like, every time you get unlockable, it says secret mode. It's like, why? It makes it sound like you unlocked a bonus mode, and no, it's not really a bonus mode. It just means, oh, you progress to the next thing. That's all it really is. They could have easily just skipped it and it wouldn't have changed a thing. Aside from, like, when you unlock a playable character. That's the only time it really matters, but when it comes to worlds, it's like, I don't really think they need to announce it. So, yeah, just like I didn't care for the show, I didn't care for the world of this either. Where the SpongeBob, Danny Phantom, and Fairly OddParent levels had, like, a lot of neat references to the shows they're based on. All Grown Up, not really. It's like, oh, you see the same characters and they're doing the same shtick over and over. And but at this point, it feels like you've already seen most of the characters they've already had to show throughout. I'll admit, like, whoever was selling the fruits back there was a different character. I don't even know who that was or where they were from, but apparently they didn't belong here, so I'm guessing they were from the Hey Arnold world, but one of the minor background characters maybe? I can't tell, bro. Are they using the same music from the Rocket Power level? But if I'm not mistaken, you can poof the Rocket Power characters out of this, despite how in the Rocket Power world, you couldn't get rid of the All Grown Up or Wild Thornberry characters. So, yeah, it's weird. I don't know how the rules of this game work. It's weird. I remembered hating what they did with Chucky and All Grown Up. You know, Chucky used to be like one of the most innocent characters in the show, and then they turned him into like a real reckless jerk. Like he was honestly like one of the biggest troublemakers in the show, and I just hated the characters in this show. Principal guy, voiced by Clancy Brown, the same guy as Mr. Krabs. Let's see, Wolfgang. I do find it interesting, like, that character Wolfgang, like, I never knew this as a kid, but, so, like, Wolfgang was introduced in, like when Hey Arnold, like, when it had, like, another season or whatever, and they had them going from one grade to another, they introduced Wolfgang, and apparently Wolfgang was voiced by the original voice of Arnold, like, you know, eventually his voice got deeper, and so, instead of firing him, they decided to find a new character for him to voice, and so, in a way, Wolfgang does kind of look like an evil version of Arnold. It's like a bigger, buffer version of Arnold. It's got, like, the same hair color, same voice actor, but it's like, yeah, as a kid, I didn't realize that was the same voice as Arnold from, like, the early seasons, but it's weird how Hey Arnold worked, though, because, you know, it's like, you look at Season 1, you notice how the art style looks a lot sloppier compared to, like, some of the episodes you see in the later seasons, but then, like, you're in Season 2 through 4, and all of a sudden you see episodes that look like Season 1 again. I remember as a kid, like, I was thinking, like, oh, I don't remember them advertising this episode when the first season aired, and then eventually you learn, like, it's just, like, the production order or something. It's like, you know, some of these episodes were produced out of order, but they decided to air them out of order. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know why they did that, but... So it's weird how 1 minute Arnold has this voice, and all of a sudden he has a different voice, or how 1 minute the art style looks a little cruder, and then all of a sudden it looks a little more polished. Yeah, that was really weird about Hey Arnold. I didn't really notice that until I binged the whole series a few years ago. I remember binging it on Hulu, and that's where I noticed, like, I was like, did they miss a few episodes? I could have sworn there were a few Season 1 episodes that, didn't show up here, and then eventually they showed up on the list, and it's like, why did they air this all the way in the middle of Season 4? I was like, is this right? And I looked up, like, on, TV listings, see like production order of episodes, and then it's like it was exactly how it was on Hulu. And it's like, no, Hulu didn't get it wrong. It's the development team that got it wrong, I guess. Yeah, it's weird. There was just something about like shows before the 2000s that were just so out of order, and it kind of makes you thankful that like people came up with a better solution for communicating overseas and stuff like that. So I think that was the main issue for a lot of this stuff, like with old Disney afternoon cartoons and stuff like that, because, you know, it's like a lot of this stuff is being written like usually like for American audiences, but then they have to ship it overseas for overseas animators to make, and some things can get lost in translation. Like, I remember hearing about, like, that funny story of, like, a funny little goof that happened in, Dexter's Lab, but the goof was so funny they kept it in the episode anyways. The misunderstanding over how, like, an audience was supposed to be, carried away by, like, a performance, and so it literally shows them, like, ascending into the air. It's like, that's kind of funny. I like how, you know, instead of getting mad over the people in America thought that just made the scene funnier, and they kept it in the episode. It's funny how that can work. What is with Jenny right here? Like, what was with her giving the puppy eyes? It's so weird. So, for some reason, there are some characters that you just can't poof right away. It's like you gotta keep taking pictures of all the characters at once, or something. You can't just keep taking care of one picture and hope that they'll that one character will disappear. Yeah, it's kind of unclear how certain things trigger in this game. I mean, same can be said about Pokemon Snap. There's still a lot of things I haven't discovered in new Pokemon Snap, and so you have to look up a guide on like how to trigger it. It's like, really? That's what I was supposed to do? Ridiculous. Heck, even knowing what to do sometimes is still hard to pull off in new Pokemon Snap. I don't know what that was about, but for some reason with Mermaid Man there, like, he turned back into his younger self when I zapped him. Showed him all muscular and less deformed looking. Same with Barnacle Boy here. Like, at last minute, he turns into his younger self. What is with Squidward? Was he dying? He didn't even have a water helmet. He was just crouching down with, like, steam popping out of him. That was kind of messed up. Well, at least SpongeBob saved him. Oh god, I can't remember that character, but I hated him. Basically, Angelica's bitch. Well, I don't know what it was about Rugrats, but like, both Rugrats and All Grown Up, it was so obsessive adding new characters last minute. It's like, yeah, they saw it's like sign of ratings declining. Gotta bring in new characters. I mean, Fairly Odd Parents overdid it. Still is, unfortunately. Oh god. Speaking of which, I did not care for the Rugrats reboot either. I think I've seen like every episode they had to air except for the new holiday special. The last episode I saw was the Halloween special they made, and I don't know, I just didn't care for it. It reminded me of why I stopped watching Rugrats to begin with. It feels like it's just run out of ideas. I mean, they think like, oh, now they have like technology, modern technology, that's enough to reinvent the series. And no, it isn't, because either way, a lot of these episodes feel like stuff that's already been done. Like, I do agree, like, with some people, they said, like, why didn't they just make the next gen of Rugrats? They should have had it where the babies we grew up with are now the adults. Instead, they just rebooted it entirely to where now all the parents are, like, basically millennials. So, like, Stu's all of a sudden, like, a couch gamer. Dee Dee's all of a sudden, like, a blogger online doing her own little show about how to take care of babies, where it's like, that's kind of a downgrade if you think about it. Originally, she was a school teacher, and they downgraded her to some wannabe YouTuber. You know, it's like, what the hell? I don't know. I especially hated what they did with Grandpa Lou. I liked it when he was like the you know, just the cranky and wacky old man, and then they turned him into like a hipster basically. It's like, what the hell? And need I say what they did with Betty and poor Howard? How they cut him out of the show to make room for Betty's big reveal. Oh my god, she's gay now. Isn't that amazing? Please give us brownie points. We appeal to the gay community. It's like, that's what it comes across as. That's what it all comes across as. TV shows aren't making gay characters because they actually care. They're doing it because they know it'll get it'll get word about, you know, it'll get people talking about it, and, you know, it's like, at least you could say with shows like Steven Universe, you could at least say, like, the people who are putting in, you know, gay representation and all that, it's like, you could tell they were serious about it, it was actually personal, but most of the time, it's not. They think, like, oh, this show did it, and that means we have to do it too, and, you can, like, Disney is terrible at, making gay characters. Like, remember the big deal they did about, like, Beauty and the Beast? Oh, if who's gonna be the first gay character, and then it's like they do nothing with it. You could have easily missed the idea that he was gay because of how little they cared about it in the end. I don't know, it's just really... I know I got a little off topic there, sorry, but I'm just, you know, you keep seeing, like, studios doing this, and it's just so annoying. Like, I hate, like, how all of a sudden, like, you know, the only talk that the upcoming Buzz Lightyear movie's getting is, oh, it has a gay kiss scene, and it was originally taken out, but it'll be put back in. And, it's like, who cares? Is that all this movie has to offer? Just gay representation? It's like, if that's all they're gonna talk about this movie, then I don't think I want to watch it, then. I don't watch a movie just to see if this gay character will do it or not, you know? I go to see what the story and what the characters have to offer. I don't care about what agenda is trying to shove down your throats. I don't know, but I'm thinking of seeing a movie tonight. I heard the new DreamWorks movie, The Bad Guys, comes out, and I actually heard that's reviewing well, and I hope that turns out good. Like, so far I'm impressed with the animation, and considering how I've been, like, boycotting DreamWorks for so long, I just hate the direction they've went in now. All they do is make baby films, or, like, really stupid kid films, and I liked it when they can make films for, like, all audiences, you know? They could appeal to kids, but they still had something that, like, adults could definitely enjoy. You know, movies like Shrek, or How to Train Your Dragon, or Prince of Egypt, Kung Fu Panda. You just don't get those anymore. And so, The Bad Guys, it looks like it's trying to be less of a kid's film, and, you know, I don't know, I just thought it looked a little funnier. And, you know, lately DreamWorks has just been making too many movies about, like, human-like characters, or, you know, trolls, and it's like, I'm just so sick of it. I don't care about these generic stories that are just about, like, wacky laughs. Like, I don't know why it reviewed so well, but, like, the last two, DreamWorks movies I saw Captain Underpants, and I don't know why people loved it so much. I honestly thought it was painful. I thought it was just too childish, and I don't know, I never grew up with the comics, but I just remember, like, back then people said that the books were really funny and all that, and so, I don't know, I thought the animation looked nice, at least, and, I don't know, I thought it looked funny, but then I saw it, and it's like, it's just way too childish, and all of a sudden I see everyone's, like, praising the film, and I'm like, was it really that good? I honestly didn't even think it was that good. That's not to say that I can't enjoy kid movies, you know, like, I think Jimmy Neutron was a better kids' rule type movie. I mean, that's kind of like the genre you could call that. It's like kids' rule movies, you know, it's where, it's about, like, rebellious kids, you know, thinking that they're in the right, and then in the end they learn a lesson or something. So I think Jimmy Neutron did a story better for that than Captain Underpants. And so Captain Underpants, I was not impressed by that movie, despite how it was selling and reviewing well, but the last good DreamWorks film I saw was How to Train Your Dragon 3, and while I do think it's the weakest of the trilogy, I still enjoyed it, though. Like, I still think the ending was impactful, but, and then all of a sudden they had to grind it to death by making, like, stupid little kid spin-offs out of it. It's like, damn it, but, otherwise, yeah, ever since, I've just been avoiding, DreamWorks. Ever since, like, Trolls came out, it's like Boss Baby, Abominable. It's like, I've heard, like, people review these and they said they were not good, or they said either they were not great or they weren't really worth seeing in theaters. So, yeah, and to this day, I still haven't watched any of them. But The Bad Guys, I don't know. There's something about that where I was drawn into the animation. I thought it looked like there was more effort put into this one, and the trailers did kind of give me a few good laughs. You have a few good voice actors in there as well. So, yeah, I'm actually thinking of seeing that tonight. Hopefully it'll be good. might do a review on that if I liked it a lot. But this is like one of the most boring levels in the game. It's like barely anything happens. It's just cars in the background. And you think you'd have to keep taking pictures of the cars that don't belong in this world, because clearly there's a bunch of cars that don't belong in the all grown up world. We saw like the Fairly Odd Parents Holiday Creature bus. We saw the SpongeBob bus, the convy from the Wild Thornberries, and the meat truck from Danny Phantom. So, heck, I think that was I don't know, but I think that was a bus from Hey Arnold that just drove by. And so, yeah, I don't get why you can't poof those out of the way. Someone's got to be driving those buses, and they don't belong in this world. So what the heck? This feels like a very lazy level, to be honest. Maybe that was the intent, because usually the other levels you succeed it by completing the bonus missions, so I guess they thought if we make a level without the bonus missions, or a whole lot of them, it'll make this a little trickier. So there's like barely any out-of-place characters here. I'm not even sure if there were any. I don't recall having to send any home, but you got Big Bob's beepers in there. So that's kind of funny, the implication that, so Big Bob was like sent to this world, and right away he just decided to build another beeper emporium. It's like, if that was the implication, that's actually funny. Somehow he somehow talked people of the all grown up world to make a beeper emporium about him. It's like, that's kind of funny. I'm not sure if that was the intent, but that's what I'm picking up from it, and if so, that's funny. I'm pretty sure some of these cars are driving themselves. There's like no one in the seats, like in that convertible that just drove by. That pink-haired lady, I'm trying to remember. I think she was from the episode of All Grown Up where Susie was conned into, like, there's, like, this businesswoman who claimed, like, she could make Susie famous, because, like, she knows, like, her singing talent, and so Susie's, like, dead set on trying to impress this woman, and in the end, she learned she was just a con artist who conned her out of her money. Okay, there's an out-of-place character, Helga. Now, what I don't get about this game, though, so we know Invader Zim is the main villain, but what did he have to gain from warping people from one place to another? It just... Yeah, we know, like, Jimmy, he knows this is not right, and he just wants to send people back home where they belong, but... It's like, what did Zim have to gain out of this? Like, it would have made sense if he warped them all from one place, if he warped them all away from, like, Earth or something, and so, I don't know, or, like, if it was a plan of his, like, send them from, like, this, like, a deserted planet, so that way he could take over the worlds they belong in, but no, that wasn't, he's just, like, dropping them all in random places, and it's like, right after you save them, he sends them back all of a sudden. You see some of the same characters appear in the same level, or multiple levels in a row, for that matter, but... One thing I forgot to mention earlier is another flaw I noticed with this game is, like, you can't really see it here per se, but, like, in other levels, the size consistency for some of the characters are really off. Like, 1 minute SpongeBob can be standing next to, like, one of the human characters from Fairly Odd Parents, and they're all of a sudden, like, taller than him. Then there are some cases where SpongeBob's taller than them, and yeah, there clearly wasn't any consistency with how tall the characters should be. And it's definitely not just because of perspective, because sometimes you see, like, the characters who appear so tiny are clearly, like, in the front of the screen, so it makes more sense if, like, they're, like, in a perspective where it's implied that they're in the background, but for when it looks like they're in the foreground, they're so tiny, it's like, yeah, that's pretty bad. I think that was the last world in the game. I think up next is the final battle. And so I'm going to skim through some of the footage here because it is really repetitive. So the first one's mostly just like a side-scrolling shooting segment where you gotta pilot Jimmy's ship and dodge like these meteors. And it's like, they make it feel like you gotta shoot them all, but no, you're really, what you want to do is just avoid them. Sometimes you might have to shoot them because there's no way around it, but what you're supposed to focus on is shooting these satellites and getting these little parts from the inside that allow Jimmy to speed up and try to catch up with Zim. Yeah, like this drags on much longer than you need to know, so you're welcome that I skipped ahead. I just want to give you an idea of what it's like for a little bit, and then I'll be skipping ahead. So avoid the big meteors as a trap. Also, and then it's also stupid how they didn't even bother with the programming for this. You don't even get any scores for shooting any of this stuff. So yeah, it doesn't really make you feel as motivated to want to beat it, really, but luckily, there are checkpoints during this. Not during this part, but I mean like afterwards. Like when you make it to Zim, there's a checkpoint there. So if you die during the Zim fight, luckily, you can be respawned right back there with full HP. So that was good. Then we go to a segment where him and Gur are running around throwing stuff at you. You gotta take pictures of Zim while taking pictures of the things they're throwing at you to prevent yourself from getting hurt by them. And it's a little trickier because you can't keep your eye on both of them at once. So, like, you might be focusing too much on Zim without realizing that way over to the right or left, Gur threw something at you. And so, yeah, it's a bit to juggle. So yeah, I think you get the idea of this too, so let's skip ahead. Another part I had to skip, because this is like the most boring part. This is all it is, just all these nuts hopping in the same pattern over and over, and it drags on way too long, so yeah. It's one thing for a final battle to be challenging, but I think I'd rather have it be challenging than boring as heck, because the final challenge really is not hard at all. I'll argue a lot of the levels beforehand were harder because of the certain high scores they wanted you to get, and some of the characters might have been harder to get because they move around too much, and here, though, this is just way too easy, but it just drags on so long, and so this was the last phase. Basically, it's just a mini game where you gotta take pictures of the steam shooting out to So you see like this gauge building up. If it fills up, the place will blow up. So you got to keep shooting these steam vents to try to cool down the system, basically. This doesn't drag as long. I mean, there's even a time limit, so it takes about less than a minute, I guess. Almost done, and so I don't know if this game is supposed to be canon to the Nicktoons Unite games, but if so, this would be the first time where the characters met Invader Zim, and it's like they just, you know, although they had a few Easter eggs with him in Volcano Island, he didn't actually appear until the last Nicktoons Unite game, which was the Globs of Doom, where him and Dib were playable characters, and once again, not a very good game, but okay. They got Tommy's hair wrong. His hair is supposed to be purple, not black. So, it's kind of weird how, unlike the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour, which you really have to thank for introducing the Nicktoons Unite games, it's funny how the characters obviously don't look computer animated when they're in Jimmy's world. I mean, they at least rendered Jimmy to look like he was a pre-rendered 3D model, downsized to fit into a Game Boy Advance game. The others, though, they look just like their hand-drawn selves, despite how they're in Jimmy's world. And so, even Timmy, they didn't use his Jimmy Timmy Power Hour design for that. And well, that was Nicktoons Freeze Frame Frenzy, and like it was kind of fun to revisit. Otherwise, like I don't see myself going back to this afterwards. It's more of like a one-time play thing, so it might be fun for a little bit, but I don't think this would be one that. It's like you've seen it already, so going back to it won't be surprising anymore. I'll even argue Pokemon Snap has more to see when revisiting, but compared to this. But, well, that's all I have to show for now. Thank you for watching. See you next time, and have a great day.